Haven't we made Chinese pastries in a long time? Come, let's make a classic product, wife cake. I wonder if anyone else feels the same way as I do. I love eating that soft kind of wife cake. It's really better than flaky and crumbly. Following today's method, it will be flaky and crumbly when freshly baked. After it softens up, it's unbeatable. The skin is thin and the filling is minimal. The sweetness is relatively low. The version we sell usually requires about 30 grams more sugar. Let's start by making the filling. I recommend you prepare cooked glutinous rice flour. Don't fry glutinous rice flour at home. The water absorption is different. The texture will definitely differ from what is sold in stores. I'm not holding back. All the recipes are exactly how I made them. I'm sharing them just as I made them, except for adjustments in sweetness. Since we mostly make these at home, right? I can only say as much as possible to reduce sugar while ensuring successful results. 160 grams of cooked glutinous rice flour, 56 grams of shredded coconut. Mix 100 grams of powdered sugar together. Remove the shredded coconut part. This is the original flavor. 192 grams of drinking water, 100 grams of milk, 36 grams of corn oil. Stir roughly to emulsify. Combine with the flour. It's recommended to mix by hand for faster results. Finally, add 20 grams of white sesame seeds. Someone else asked, can the powdered sugar in the recipe be replaced with granulated sugar? Absolutely, it can be done. But the steps will need to be adjusted. Add the granulated sugar to the liquid part and stir together. Once melted, mix it evenly with the flour. As for the oil dough part, it's also very simple. 200 grams of cake flour. Mix 100 grams of lard together. When making Chinese pastries, there are still some issues to pay attention to recently. The weather is too hot. The room temperature is quite high. With lard, it will melt while being prepared. This causes mixed dough. The solution is to turn on the air conditioning. Actually, if you turn on the air conditioning, your room temperature will still be a little high. Try to work a little faster. So, if you want to make good Chinese pastries, you also need to pay attention to the room temperature. Let's also knead the water dough by hand. Having a stand mixer would definitely be better. 328 grams of all-purpose flour, 142 grams of water and 32 grams of powdered sugar, 114 grams of lard. First mix until there is no liquid, then knead. This will be easier to handle. Don't underestimate the wife cake. Many shops have it. Back when it was booming, it could sustain a shop by itself. The price per item is low. It has a great taste. The cost-performance ratio is unbeatable. Roll it out like you're rubbing clothes. Just repeat this action. The dough will gradually become smooth. There's also a convenient method. Just let it relax for more than half an hour. If the room temperature is too high, put it in the refrigerator. It should be able to stretch into a thin membrane. Making Chinese pastries. Don't overknead the dough. It's better to be a little under than over. I've actually been wanting to make this tutorial. It's been delayed for about 2 years. I haven't made wife cake much in the past 2 years. I bought a bag of cooked glutinous rice flour. 1 bag expired. I'm really craving it. It must be arranged. The reason is to make this tutorial for you. I can enjoy delicious wife cake again. The skin dough is divided into 20 grams. The oil dough is divided into 10 grams. The filling is divided into 24 grams. This recipe can make about 29 pieces. For home preparation, I suggest you cut it in half. Just divide all the ingredients by 2. This uses the small wrap method. If you need the large wrap method tutorial, you can check my date pastry. That day, I made about 100 date pastries. The large wrap method is quite fast. For smaller home batches, actually, the small wrap method would be more convenient. First, wrap the oil dough with the water dough. This dough is still very easy to roll out. After wrapping, arrange them in order. Roll it out directly without resting. If you roll it out for a longer time, you can roll out 2 together. You can even roll out 3 together. Complete the rolling process. Then we need to rest for more than 10 minutes. As long as you rest it properly, The second rolling and folding will be very easy, just roll it up after rolling. Then fold it in half towards the center. Here, I usually rest it for another 10 minutes. By the way, there's a little trick for not breaking the layers. It's to keep it covered with plastic wrap throughout. This trick applies to most Chinese pastries, including egg yolk pastries. If you want to avoid breaking the skin, you also need to cover it with plastic wrap the entire time. You can jot down this key point in a little notebook. If you like that thick, puffy wife cake, then be gentle when pressing it flat at this step. I prefer to roll it out very thin. Make sure the filling is evenly distributed. Also, the pancakes will soften faster. Brush with egg wash and sprinkle sesame seeds. Make 3 cuts to prevent the wife cake from bursting. This cut is essential. I made about 20 of these today. Save them to eat later. Follow my recipe. The filling will definitely not dry out the next day. In fact, they taste great on the second or third day. The texture is really fantastic. I haven't tried it on the 4th day, because they were all eaten. Today, I'm using the cast-on CO 580 oven. If baking 1 tray, we use the conventional oven mode. Bake at 180 degrees with top and bottom heat for 18 minutes. If we need to bake 2 trays, I will switch to the convection oven mode. Bake at 160 degrees for 20 minutes. Let's break one open. Flaky and crumbly layers. This, for us, is not the most perfect texture. After resting overnight, the flavor is truly amazing. And this sweetness. Many customers have mentioned that it is low in sweetness. They all feel it is not sweet enough. So when we were making the official version, we added an extra 30 grams of sugar. Then the sweetness became relatively normal.